All right. All right, again, thank y'all for being here up to our weekly stakeholder meeting. We're here on May the 20th. And those who know that and watching us online, please make sure that you share this video. We're excited for this today and this guest speaker that we have today. Again, next week, we're going to have Man Up. Man Up is a nonprofit organization. They're going to be here sharing some great information. And then we'll let you know next week if we're going to do our evening meeting on that day after Memorial Day. I know some of y'all will be still partying, so we may cancel that evening meeting on May the 27th, though. For the business owners and those who own the business, and some of y'all who went through, make sure this word get back to Roxy. So I know like 22 company businesses that day when we had the last business meeting with MBC, they were here, so they're going to be coming back to help walk you through, coach you through. They got their people that's going to be here with us for that particular meeting. So let's make sure that we get the word out. If you didn't get to come to the first one, you still can come and do the assessment, and we'll send that information out in our next newsletter so that you can be able to do the assessment if you didn't make it to the first meeting. To those watching online that want to be here, that meeting is going to be at noon on May the 27th. That's with MBC. They're going to be back with us on that day. So that's the meeting that we will have during the daytime in May. And then for June and July, y'all, we will not have stakeholder meetings, Pastor. We won't be having stakeholder meetings. I'm going to be doing some summer camps. So I'm going to be working with a group of kids doing golf camps, and we're running some other summer camps. So I'm going to be spending time with our children in the community this summer. Excited about that. So we'll be having stakeholder meetings, and we'll be right back August, the first Tuesday in August, and I have the line up for that. But we will be doing several events and keeping you all, if you're not on the newsletter, please make sure that we get your information so that we can put you on the newsletter so that you can know all the events that's going to be happening. One of the other things that we're going to be doing this summer is we're going to be kicking off a summer league, basketball, volleyball league with churches throughout our city. I know one of them, Pastor, will be doing it here with Pastor Leon, and we're going to be doing a day league for ages 8 through 15 and a night league for 16 through 27, 28. And so that'll be in partnership with Light at Night, but we're asking Pastor, I volunteered him that he's going to be helping us to do this all over the city. And so he's going to help us facilitate that for those churches, and we're going to have a meeting tomorrow. So those watching us online, if you have a church and have a facility that you would like to use this summer to do something for our children that's going to be out here in the community, please reach out to us. We want to be able to utilize those spaces and get with you on how we want to be able to operate that. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow at 12 o'clock tomorrow at Soul Cafe. It's right there on New Direction parking lot. Their cafe that's right there on Winchester. So if you can make it there at 12 o'clock, if you have a facility and would like to get more information, at 12 o'clock we're going to be meeting with churches and youth pastors and leaders from around the city to pull that off. So again, we want you to be able to be a part of that. Also, what else we got going this summer before I get up to the announcement? Community conversation. Come on up real quick, Nicole, and give about the community conversation. There's a lot of stuff happening this summer. We want to make sure we keep these young people active. This is Nicole Jakes, our district connector.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is July 10th. We are scheduled for our District 6 community conversation. We did one last year. This is our second one. Our topic this time is going to be around jobs, apprenticeships, because our survey, the survey that we've been passing out and asking everybody to take, that's the number one thing that people are concerned about, our jobs, not just for youth, but for adults. So we'll be looking at jobs and education, employment and education. Yeah. So it'll be July 10th. It will be at Pure Academy. So if you haven't been there, beautiful facility in our district. Melvin Cole is the founder, I guess. He's not the principal. Right? Executive director of Pure Academy. So we'll be there. And it's in another community. Yeah.
Anything else y'all got? Got a meeting tonight, but
that's Millington. Yeah.
Some of these people might want to go to Millington, so tell them that.
Oh, okay. So tonight in Millington, they're doing another community conversation. That one is around employment period, I think, just employment. So they're gonna do like a mini job fair with theirs tonight, so it'll be some employers that is actually gonna be hiring on the spot.
Not getting no job.
Hey, yeah,
Yeah, that's gonna be a Militant Community Center, right?
yeah, the Baker Community
Militant
Center.
Community Center, Militant tonight at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, and they feed you up there too.
Yeah.
So be able to come out today. Any other members of the government, you got anything, members out loud? Come on, RC3.
Good afternoon. I just want to make a quick announcement that RC3 is presenting our summer camp this year. I'm going to let you all know now, this will not be a full-on summer camp. So if y'all looking for that for your children, don't call us. We're going to be pushing a very academic heavy summer camp this summer. We will have no slippage between this year and the next school year for the children. I guess we'll invite you out because you're coming to summer camp so they can have one day of fun. Yeah, come on down there. So it's going to be running May 27th, the day after Memorial Day, until August the 1st, from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We have some very long hours.
Dropping all my kids off.
That's right. We're going to be featuring math, Lexia, English, AI, STEM, technology, health, wellness, and martial arts. So they're still going to have a good time.
What's the age group?
Age groups are we're going to set from 5 up to 17. From 5 to 17, the majority of our children fall under 6 and 12.
How much it cost?
It's a QR code on here we want y'all to scan.
Well, there's a cost.
There is a cost to it,
Okay.
but you know, we're still gonna work with our community, so give us a call and let us know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, somebody got to run it. I mean, it's got to
right.
be sustainable. So thank you, Pastor, for the work that y'all doing there. Members out loud, we got something coming up. Sister, Sandra Lee.
So tomorrow is our 3rd annual health fair. In Dwelling Place. We will have over 25 vendors that will be serving in the community. And that's medical, we got some dental kits for our community. We have social services. We also have mobile medical, that's mammograms. So if you have any ladies that will need mammograms, please encourage them to come tomorrow. Also, we'll be having giveaways, diapers, wipes, essential items, toys, household items. Please share with your community, with our community in Raleigh. Also, we will start at 9 and it will end at 12 noon. All right? Thank you all.
All right, so I know I got a lot going on. Committees all day tomorrow, but I know I got to speak at Georgia Hill Middle at 9 o'clock for their speaker for their graduation class tomorrow or so at 9, and then we'll be off into the committee. Any other announcements that we have? Tiara, we got an announcement?
No, we don't have any announcements.
All right, then, with that being said, we all minds clear. Again, thank you all for being here today. Again, we have a special speaker on today. I was glad that he changed his trip to be here with us from Nashville. It's not like he's gonna stay on the street, but he's here with us. State Representative Tony Parkins is somebody who, for many of y'all know, I raised him many years. He's working, he's doing what he do because he had a good trainer. But State Representative Parkins has been a mentor to me, really, truly, for many years. Has been that person in our community that I can lean on, call on, and help us direct us and keep the round table, I guess we would call it, us together here. Michael Easton and Thomas, Councilwoman Logan, Stephanie Love, and myself and Parkinson. We stay in contact with each other so that we can work together on the best behalf of our districts. And to have a state representative that we can call on when we know that we have legislation and policies that we need to be looked at the state level, and know that he is somebody that can work across party lines when it's needed to make sure that the needs of our constituents are met. And so I'm excited to bring up to you all the host of the Antonio Parkinson Project, State Representative Antonio Parkinson.
Thank you. You know, I was concerned when Nicole Gates came up here, y'all gave her a big round of applause. I said, man, Nicole's clap is gonna be louder and bigger than mine. I said, I'm still following Nicole, man. Still following. Hey, thank you first of all. Y'all give it up for our commissioner and his team. We are a family. We are that, and but we don't agree on everything. So I just want y'all to know that it's not like they just co-sign on the stuff I say. I co-sign on the stuff they say. But we work through it. We do. We work through it, and our family is actually bigger than us. Pastor Jones and the late Rick Floyd and other folks have all been part of this group of individuals that truly care about our community. And in all honesty, all of the change that you're seeing happen in the Raleigh community, it comes from people that have been invested in this community for many years. It actually started before I was elected, and those individuals that the commissioner named, both Councilwoman Easter Thomas and Logan and Commissioner Love and Willie Brooks. He didn't name Willie Brooks. He's actually part of the family too. He's Exit 8 also, and some of y'all will get that later. We've been doing this since long before I was elected. I was the first one to be elected, but we've been doing this community work and this meeting and this planning and this strategizing for many years. Nicole been around for all of them years too, involved in some of this, and we're just gonna keep on doing it until we can't do it, and that's the goal and the strategy. I just want to also touch on y'all know I'm uncut, right? We're going to pray for it, right? I want to touch on personal responsibility, and then I'll talk about school takeover, and I'll talk about the nuisance laws and what happened in the legislature this year. But personal responsibility amongst us as a people, right? Let me be the first to break the news to everyone and everyone that's watching. The cavalry is not coming. The cavalry is not coming, and we can continue to say it's because of this and it's because of that. Yes, some of those things, ACES has a part to play in it. Slavery has a part to play in it. Parents have a part to play in it. But ultimately, the things that are going on in our community are our responsibility, and that's the plane of it, And every time I say this, I get people that come after me with rakes and pitchforks. They're like, but you were acting like, we brought the guns into our communities. No, I'm not. But what I am acting like is, you didn't have to accept the gun that came into your community. We didn't bring crack into our community. No, you didn't bring crack into your community. But somebody colluded with the enemy and said, hey, I can selfishly make some money off of this and kill my own people and have my own people addicted and incarcerated under Bill Clinton's, mass incarceration laws. Somebody colluded with the enemy. And at the point whenever we, let me tell you who we is, first of all. There are 1.3 million people in the Memphis metro community. 1.3 million. Every single person that I ask, what's the percentage of people that are involved in violent crime in our communities? Everybody says less than 1%. I think that number is really incredibly minuscule, like 0.00043% of people out of the 1.3 million that are involved in violent criminal activity. There's a couple of things that make me scratch my head when you think about those numbers. Did y'all let those numbers marinate? Think about it. Let that ingest for a second. 1.3 million people in the metro community. Memphis Metro. Less than 1% are involved in violent crime. Now you have to ask yourself, and ask others too. Why is the violent crime the loudest thing you hear about in Memphis? Think about what I'm saying. So let me qualify it this way. Y'all know when I start stuttering, I'm about to go into something.
Take your time.
You got 1.3 million people. Less than 1% commit the violent crimes. But the violent crimes are the loudest. It's the thing we hear about more than anything in this community. So what that means is that 99.999% of that $1.3 billion, they ain't doing nothing. There's nothing that they're doing that is newsworthy. There's nothing that they're doing that is worth talking about. But that less than 1% is doing everything worth talking about, worth being broadcast, worth being blasted to the world. And ain't nobody saying nothing about it. Less than 1% of 1.3 million people they have a partner in their activities. Let me give you an example. Let me qualify this, right? And, so you think about, okay, Kirkwood, you at Kroger. Kroger probably gonna kill you for this. Don't use my brand. Kirkwood, you at Kroger, and you see some people fighting. You see some girls fighting. And you whip your phone out, and you start recording that fight. You have just become a partner with them in this fight. And let me tell you, let me qualify that further. Most people, when they whip them phones out, they're whipping it so they can go back to they can transmit to their social media so that they can get the likes, they can get the commentary, they can get the shares, they can get people added to their social media. What's the difference between Kirkwood's action and that of every news network in Memphis?
Fox 13.
Not just Fox 13.
Yeah.
Every news. Let me put this on y'all's mind. And I'll use Fox 13 this time. They start their newscast at 5 a.m., then there's a 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9. Somebody keep counting. How many is that? 5, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Who's keeping count? You count? It's 5. Then I think they have another one, 11 o'clock. I don't know if they have a 12. They got 11. Then there's 5, 6. Then there's 9 and 10. How many is that total? 10. Just on one station. I don't watch the news in Memphis, and my business is that of media. 10 times. I watched the news one time, made a mistake of watching the news the other day, and it was Fox 13. 7 stories in a row off the top of the newscast. It was kill, murder, murder. Shoot. 7. The violent criminals in this city have partners who help to get their stories out, and not those stories of the 99% or the 1.3 million people that are doing things in the city. And it's sad and unfortunate because the rippling effects of that, now remember, we just talked about one station, but there are 4. So multiply that exponentially. Then multiply the social media aspect of it, where the rest of the people share those stories. Think about that. So why do we get mad at the Kirkwoods that's filming and shooting the fight on their phones and sharing it, but we're not outraged at the news stations that's putting it out way more than what that individual that was over there videotaping and recording the fight. What's the difference? And if I'm wrong, y'all feel free. I'm telling you, I'm okay. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But there's a conversation that needs to be had, right? What's the difference between somebody, a corporate citizen that is polluting the air, such as what they're saying about XAI, and a corporate citizen that is polluting the air with violence and negative imagery?
Right.
Yeah. Having the same impact on the world.
Same impact. What, to my mental health professionals,
Yeah.
what's the difference between the messaging that we're getting bombarded with on a daily basis versus that of being in a verbally or physically abusive household and get the same thing every single day? Tell me what's the difference. Sorry, my phone is ringing at the same time. What's the difference? You know, we want good corporate, responsible citizens in our communities. We need partners. And this is not to castrate the news stations. I mean, I got relationships with the news stations probably up until now. But corporate responsibility matters. It absolutely matters, because when you think about, you know, us trying to recruit businesses here, I'm working on a business now. Raleigh has been asking for a sit-down restaurant for years.
Yeah.
We're this close to having a really, really nice one.
Yes, sir.
This close. But the husband and wife team, the wife is sending the husband the stories from the news stations. You know, the stories about Houston's closing, and we know Houston stayed packed. It didn't close because if crime was an issue at Houston's and people stayed in there,
Yes, I do.
you know, it wasn't about no crime. You know, you hear the story about T.J. Mulligan, that was an employee. You know, you hear these stories, you know, but they're broadcasting this out, and it's becoming troublesome for us for business recruitment. It's becoming troublesome for us as citizens. You know, my daughter, who has a new baby, wanted to go downtown a few weeks ago, and then she tells me, and this is so heartbreaking, she said, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't go downtown, go down there to the river, because a young man got killed down there on the river." And then we had River Beat, Music Fest, and nobody was killed. You didn't hear nothing.
Crawfish Festival, nobody.
Nobody. But where's that broadcast? Where's, hey, you know, it was safe down here. Where's everybody had a good time? Where's that broadcast? Where's the broadcast about light at night? Where's that broadcast?
Yeah.
And that's part of that 1.3 million people that are on the other side of that less than 1% that don't get the light. So you know, a partnership has been created with our smallest demographic, and they got the best partners in the market in our news stations.
Right.
And you know, and it's important that something has to give, and we're working on a conversation, you know, with the news stations, you know.
Yeah.
Because you go to other markets that have similar crime, you know, they put the crime in the second block. They put it after the money, after the cranes, after this, that, and that. Nashville got crime, y'all know that, right?
Right.
I live in both places. Nashville got crime. They're dealing with, well, they got people that's blowing up whole areas of downtown with bands. You know, and different things. They got different kind of crime. They do it different. They got crime. They got killings too.
Yeah.
But it ain't leading the newscast with seven stories in a row. I mean, at some point it almost gets ridiculous.
Right.
So I wanted to put that on everybody's mind, and I also, again, too, you know, at some point we as a people, black folks, to the black folks that's in here. White folks, feel free to share this. To the black folks that's in here, we have a responsibility to call our ish out and stop sugarcoating what we're seeing. Think about what I'm saying. We have a responsibility when we know that some of these parents know that their kids are walking out with their backpack on and the ski mask in the summer. Well, we know kids wear hoodies in the summer anyway, but you know, that's beside the point. But when they're walking out with their backpack and them colors and their ski mask, and you know what's happening.
Right.
right? We know which house in every neighborhood is that house, where the shootings and the stuff happens, but ain't nobody saying nothing. We know which businesses are those businesses that are problematic because you won't go get gas there. You know that. You will not stop at Mountain Terrace and Fraser Boulevard to get gas.
Right.
Will you, Nicole? Right. we know where they are.
Nowhere near.
But these folks are getting passes.
Right.
Which is a perfect segue into the nuisance law. Let's talk about that. So I was fortunate enough to be able to pass a couple of bills that I want to talk about. One was the streamlining of our nuisance laws. And I'll tell you how we got there. The other one was, which is the easiest, quickest to talk about, is I also passed a bill that made it so that every single court that hears either a domestic violence case, assault case, or cases like that can issue orders of protection right there on the spot. And that's what we brought. Thank you to the clap star. You was the clap star. Look, thank you. And why is that important? This actually came from one of our newest judges, Judge Jackson. Give her a round of applause, because she came up with this. She called me and she said, hey, she said, if I got both parties right here in front of me, why should the victim have to leave and go to another court to file for an order of protection? And I said, it just makes great sense, right? So we did pass this law that allows for every judge that hears an assault, any violent cases, to be able to issue orders of protection on the spot while they have both parties in front of them. And so I think that's a big deal, and that's gonna hopefully, prayerfully, save some lives. The other bill is nuisance law. We had, starting back last summer, I had multiple people coming to me complaining about this address right up here, 5125 Yale Road. 5125 Yale Road. I told them they're gonna be famous in branding now. It's called Discount Tobacco. Discount Tobacco was having, assaults, shootings, trapping, gun stuff. Dudes wearing ski masks, walking around with AK-47s out in the public. And there's a daycare that's next door to that strip center, and when the police would come, they throw their backpacks over the gate of the daycare into the kids' playground. Okay. Yeah. So the daycare owner called me and, said, man, something got to be done. Then they started dumping over there, and so y'all have to drive by there. It's right there at Yale and Company Pike, right across from Open Arms. Y'all drive by there, y'all take a look at it. And so I had the trash and the tires and the dumping stuff. They put a basketball goal over there. They were setting up shop. And had all that cleaned up. And then I was driving by there, and it looked like somebody was dumping more trash, but they were actually picking up trash. It was another business owner on the barbershop in there. And I pulled over and I was letting them have it about the trash, but they said, no, we're actually cleaning it up, right? I said, okay. And he started, talking to me about the same address. There's a common denominator, same address, right? And so I was in session, so I couldn't do anything until we went to session, so we called the DA. The DA said, and he was right, he said, it's gonna take us time because we have to capture evidence of the wrongdoing, whether it's underage sales of alcohol or drug deals. We have to go into Dubai, and he said, you have to be patient because it's going to take a while. You know what you're talking about, right, Colonel? And I said, that we can't wait. Meanwhile, these businesses and these homeowners are suffering because of this address. So when I got back in January, I got with former DA Mike Donovan, who was over the Tennessee District Attorneys Conference. That's all the district attorneys in the state of Tennessee. We sat down, I said, man, this is what I need. We need to streamline these nuisance processes. And I said, we want to set up, if there are so many arrests in these certain crimes within a 2-year period, that serves as the evidence y'all need. So y'all don't have to send folks in and do all of this stuff, this, that, and other. And that's basically what we did. And we were able to pass that legislation, this year and start activating this legislation on July 1st. And how's this is why it matters. Watch this. So I talked to one of my colleagues who voted against the bill early on in the committee, and I asked them why they voted against the bill. They said, well, we got friends that are club owners, and every now and then you have people that shoot on their parking lot and this, that, and other, so on and so forth, and getting back to that personal responsibility for me, right? And I said, well, why aren't they shooting at the white clubs? And then I thought about this, right? And I told them, I said, your grandmother, 50 years ago, your grandmother purchased a house. When she signed that document for that house, she said, she had that feeling of happily ever after. Those of y'all that have purchased your first home, you know how that feels, right? That feeling in your stomach. When you purchased that first house, you signed that document. Neighborhood is great at the time. And then you have someone move, they put a store in your neighborhood that's now selling ski masks and AK-47 pendants, colors, wraps. They got gas pumps, but they're always out of order. So they're selling more blunts than they are selling gas. Those folks. And then all of a sudden you get these activities that's happening in and around because this is their customer base, right? This is their customer demographic. And then at the end of the night when they pack up and leave, they don't live in that neighborhood. They go probably somewhere like Collierville or Germantown where they live. Get the bag and go. Then you got the club owner that owns the club in the neighborhood, in their community, making a ton of money, having shootings on the parking lot, this, that, and other, so on and so forth. They get their bag, they go, they get the money out of there first. Probably early before the club even closes. Then they shut and lock and shutter those doors. They go to their gated community, and the shootings that's happening on the parking lot affect your property values or your grandmother's property values, who's now at this point upside down. She can't even get out of what was a dream and now has become a nightmare. Then those businesses that are adjacent to the club that was lit last night, trash and stuff all over the parking lot, broken bottles, this, that, and other, so on and so forth. They have to work in this environment, but people don't want to come to this environment because of the reputation that this community has built, not because they're selling stuff at 5 and below, but because of the club. But that club owner got the bag and went back to his or her gated community. Everybody made money. The promoters, DJs, this, that, and other, everybody made money. And they going back to their community. Meanwhile, the community that this place is housed in is causing rippling effects in the community that it's housed in. And so as part of that legislation, which to me, this is the best part of that legislation, when these businesses are deemed a nuisance, if they violate that nuisance order, if they're allowed to open back up and they violate the nuisance order again, then everybody that lives in that zip code, that owns a house in that zip code, can file suit against that business and receive between $1,000 and $50,000. Everybody in that zip code. Every business owner in that same zip code with that business can file suit and receive between $1,000 and $50,000 in statutory damages because of the damages that were given to them based on the actions or inactions of this nuisance business. And so, and as with any piece of legislation, I hope that no business suffers from or is affected by this legislation, because we said it to start July 1st, so you got time to clean the issue up. And again, our personal responsibility says to us, nobody gets a pass. Even if they look like us. Nobody gets a pass. We have a responsibility. Remember we talked about earlier, right? We talked about the less than 1%, right, versus the 99.999%. Their grandmother that bought that house is part of that 99.999%. But the less than 1% of those business owners that are being irresponsible corporate citizens is wreaking havoc on the larger the larger group. Let me tell you real quick about cultural differences, right? Cultural differences. Y'all know I'm uncut, right? And I'm probably get some folks that jump on my wall, Charlie, and them social media when I say this. And don't be offended, my good Caucasian friends. The difference between cultural differences, the difference between white Republicans is they don't care about cutting the heads off of their own in order for the preservation of the larger body. Do I need to say that again? Y'all repost that quote. You can put my name in there. Think about it. When President Obama passed Obamacare or Medicaid expansion, the Republicans would not expand Medicaid in Tennessee for anything at all in the world. And they knew some of their people were going to die. Literally, were going to die. But the idea of self-preservation and preservation of political power was much more important to them than these individuals that's going to die. They'll never say that, I'll say it for them. So they're like, sorry, Chip, I understand, but they'll take one for the team, homie. And because if we pass Obamacare, that means Obama got to win, which will dilute our political power. If we dilute our political power, that means that the self-preservation of the body, the rest of us, is at stake. If we dilute our political power, we don't have political power to say that abortions are illegal because we need y'all to have babies. Let that man in. If we don't preserve our political power to get rid of DEI and CRT and all of these things that bring attention to our wrongdoings, that's not going to help us to preserve the bigger body. We can learn a lot from Republicans, right Republicans. We're not cutting the heads off of those people that are destructive to us when it comes to self-preservation of the bigger body. Let me qualify that. Can I take a drink for this? We coddle the people that are most destructive to us. Let me qualify that. How many of y'all heard people say, stop incarcerating all these black folks? So, free Murder Mike. Murder Mike got 3 bodies on and 4 of them that the police don't even know about. Y'all want to reduce his sentence. Our people, Kyle, want to reduce his sentence. They want to give him bail. We should eliminate bail for people because, they may be innocent, this, that, and yes, they may be innocent, but why are they even in that crowd? Don't be in that crowd, right? Where is that responsibility at? I'm over it. Honestly, I'm over the excuses for people that are destructive to us as a race. Are y'all quiet in here? I'm serious. I was talking to the commissioner. I know he's big on ACEs. I'm big on ACEs. Leon's big on ACEs. We all have ACEs. Every person in here has ACEs. Yeah, I'm telling you, mine pegged. I think mine broke the meter. But we ain't out here killing each other. Nobody in this room is killing each other, right? We all have missing fathers. Yes, it matters. Fathers matter. But that's not an excuse for you to be out here killing each other, right? But we all suffer from these different things. But now it's time for us as a people to start calling our people out, and we got to cut the heads off people that are destructive to us. Let me close this part out with this. If you are selling fentanyl laced weed to our people, you are a freaking enemy. If you are walking around here killing our people, you are the freaking enemy. And there are no excuses that are going to come from me to you. I need to hold on. I'm not making it good. We are going to be over. I'm over these excuses for these individuals that are out here doing these things that are destructive to our people. And we all have to be this way. We all have to adopt this philosophy of, we'll get rid of those that are destructive to us without blinking an eye, and for the self-preservation of us. Either that, or you're gonna let this small, less than 1% of people, kill everything for us. Jobs, home ownership, communities, this, that, and other. And it's time that we take a stand. And I'm 100% on this right now, and I'm not going backwards on this. And so, and most of the people that I give this message to, most of my constituents, they want the same thing.
Right.
They want our most heinous crimes to be in a place where the judge can say, deny bail to this person. Child rape, aggravated rape, carjacking, murder, ag assault, these things, and yet you still have Democrats that's voting against it. Malcolm X said the biggest enemy to the black people are liberal Democrats. No, that's where the coddling message comes from. No, we got to be soft on crime. No, they don't say soft on crime, but we got to be more lenient, I guess. No, I ain't with it. If it does not preserve the race, does not enhance the race, does not enhance, our people, our communities, whether you're black, white, this, that, and other. If it does not enhance that, then you're the enemy. I had somebody say, well, we didn't bring the gun. Well, I said personal responsibility means that you ain't out here shooting people. And they said, well, who you get the gun from? From somebody that looked like him. That's where he got the gun from. Unfortunately, that's the real truth. Right? Who did he get the gun from? Probably somebody that looked like him that stole it, possibly. Right? And then they said, well, who's bringing the guns into the community? I said, I don't know, but who was the person that accepted the gun from the person that brought the gun into the community? So he has colluded with the enemy. And let me be clear, I am a pro-gun Democrat with common sense. So I'm not anti-gun. I'm just pro-common sense, but I'm anti-colluding with the enemy. It goes to the same person when crack was first introduced, to our streets in LA, and they were saying, well, somebody else brought the crack in, but the dude that accepted it didn't have to accept it. He didn't have to accept it and sell it to his people in his community. He colluded with the enemy. So we can't blame folks that don't look like us when it's us. And we have to get off that crutch. And we have to be self-dependent and self-determined. And what will be and what is the future of our communities. And I stand on that. And I'm not backing down on that. And the better the black community, for my white folks is saying, oh yeah, he's a radical. No. The better the black community is, the better the community is overall, all of us. Trust me. We're trying to clean this stuff up. And we're over this. Last thing, please, you got.
No, we're gonna get questions. Go ahead.
Okay, but real quick on school takeover. School takeover. Listen, y'all. This thing, school takeover thing, is not about academics for our children. Not even in the least bit. Let me qualify that a couple ways. One, Memphis and Shelby County schools, reading proficiency in 3rd grade, 30.5%. That's an F-, it's horrible. The state of Tennessee's reading proficiency is 35.6%. F-. Horrible. So how can the state who has an F-, that'd be like me telling Charlie got an F, telling Charlie to tour Kirkwood with another F-.
Bring them up.
Don't use Kirkwood.
He got the right one.
Let me further qualify. There has been a movement afoot, and those of y'all do the research yourself. Don't take my word for it. Do the research yourself. These hedge fund owners are the ones who own and control these charter management organizations.
Yeah.
CM, what we call CMOs. That's your KIPs, your, what's the other one? Green dots, and this, and so on and so forth, right? And their new thing has become real property. That's the agenda now.
Right.
You know, it started out as, okay, we go in and we get these charter schools in here, and we get about $10,500 per black and brown head. That's the price on the children's head. Anybody know that?
Yeah.
$10,500 head is going to price for a young black kid, young brown kid for these charter organizations. I'm not talking about locally approved charters, like your Star Academies and this and that. I'm talking about these out-of-state charter CMOs, and all you gotta do is look at their budgets. They're supposed to be nonprofits. Look at their budgets. When I looked at Green Dot's budget when they were trying to take over Raleigh High School, I think it was either $636 million or $300 and something million. I saw it myself with my own eyes. And so that was the game at first. And that didn't mean that they were going to move your child academically. It just meant that, hey, we're gonna come in and take over because this is the agenda, the national agenda. On the Republican side, let's privatize education. That was the agenda. That's been the agenda. And then, you know, the state legislature started passing legislation like this. A couple years ago, this was passed. If we want a list of every piece of property that Shelby County Schools owns. Shelby County Schools has a vast portfolio of property. And we want to know which ones are being fully utilized. We want to know which ones are partially utilized, which ones are not being utilized that are, and you know, those that are for sale or not. And with that, we are going to allow charter schools to have first right of refusal on all of these properties from Shelby County Schools. And they can purchase these properties under market value. Let me show you what that looks like, for those of you that were asking. Thanks for asking. So let's say, for instance, if Shelby County Schools decides to build Cordova High School across the street from the old Cordova High School. And let's say they got a deal on the table to sell the old Cordova High School to one of the hospitals. That builds a new high school. Let's say that deal is $10 million for the old high school. The charter school can say, I can't sell that to the hospital yet. We get first right of refusal.
Right.
The Shelby County Schools got an appraisal of $7 million. They're going to make $3 million on the deal. The charter school comes in with their own appraiser, and that appraiser says, nope, I think this school is valued at $5 million. Charter school gets to purchase it at $5 million. No, I'm sorry. At whatever is between $6 million, the middle. The market value is, let's say, $8 million. They're buying it under market value. I see my realtors over there looking. And then they purchase it, and then they turn around and do the deal with the hospital.
Yeah.
This thing, it ain't about education. It ain't about your kids' education. And those of you that are not, if you follow me on there and go to my state rep and state rep Antonio Parkinson Facebook page, all of these videos are on that page. Where this stuff was on the House floor, where this stuff was in committee, where we were discussing it. And we got them to admit, when Mark Wright was working on state takeover, that we want to know about these properties because it's too much bureaucracy and we can't give these properties to the charter schools. He said it. And so all of this hoopla about, academic, the performance, BS, throw it out the window. All this hoopla about Marie Fagan's, BS, throw it out the window. They didn't even say nothing about that in the school takeover stuff. They didn't say nothing about academic. We asked, what are the academic benchmarks in this school takeover legislation? There was none. You hear me? Absolutely zero academic benchmarks in that school takeover legislation. And here's the last thing I'm about to wrap it up. School takeover didn't just start this year. The first version of school takeover was with the Achievement School District.
Yeah.
The goal was to take 5% of schools at a time, turn them into charters, until the whole district is a charter district. That was the goal. They were never going to return those schools, but they performed so poorly when they took them over. They wanted to, y'all take these back. Y'all know what I'm going to say. Y'all take them back. That's what that was about. Second iteration was this. The first voucher vote. The goal was to privatize the district by giving folks vouchers. Third iteration was this. Guess what? Mark White had legislation drafted years ago to stack the school board. Fourth iteration was this. Voucher vote again. That's the one where the Speaker of the House went down. Then there was another voucher vote that didn't pass. Then this fourth voucher vote passed. And then, guess what? Mark White had another bill to stack the school board. This didn't just start. This didn't just happen. It just so happened that when the school board was talking about firing the superintendent, everybody started paying attention. And all of the sides in the line was drawn. But believe it or not, there are agendas and there are people that are being paid to support Mark White's ideas. And they look like us. And that's a fact. This is not opinion.
Right.
It's on their 990s. All right. And so with that, we're gonna wrap it up. So y'all please make sure y'all follow. And please
Yeah, I've got one. I really appreciate you uncovering a lot of conversation about the school board and all the things. My question is about knowledge and data. And my view is there's three types of crime. It's the domestic one time, or domestic where the household is in disarray and it happens multiple times. You have the crime of opportunity, where kids are just rolling the street, just looking for things at the current moment. And then you have gang. So if you look at those three things, where do you think the percentage lie, and what do you think we need to do to kind of solve those three things?
So I'm always honest. I don't know where the percentages lie in those different types of crime. I don't know. I do know that most of those children have parents. I also know that when you step outside of the child committing the crime and you're into the young adult or adult, there's much more personal responsibility that can be executed, right? We know better. We know right from wrong. I had an individual that said, the responsibility happens when that person is tried, but if a person steals a car and somebody shoots and kills him, then he shouldn't die for stealing a car, which I agree. Nobody should die for stealing a car, but nobody should be stealing a car. Don't get your ass in them folks' car. And that's where there's all right, he's pre-praying for us. He's pre-praying. Right, so I already said, you got here late, he's pre-praying. Right. And so, that's where the responsibility lies. And then I told the individual, when they go to court, that's not responsibility, that's accountability. And there's a difference, right? The responsibility is, this ain't your ish, don't get in it, right? And the Republicans are trying to pass legislation now that says, if you see somebody stealing your stuff, you can blow them away.
Mississippi got that law.
Yeah, Tennessee, they ran it this year. This is what's coming.
This
is what's coming. Yeah.
I saw something this morning on the news regarding school vouchers. It's supposed to come out Thursday. I didn't know exactly what it's about. I know someone's looking for school vouchers for their children. So it didn't give any information.
Let me give you the information.
Okay.
I got plenty of it.
I know you do.
Right, so I'm going to give you a quick and dirty version because he got the hook out, right? So vouchers did pass and it's statewide. Anybody can get a voucher, but here's what has happened in states that have passed statewide vouchers. 65% of the vouchers that were given out were given to people that already had their children in private schools. So, which means they could afford them in most cases, right? So that means that they have received a coupon for their child to go to private school that they already had their child in, 65%, right? Then there's another 20% that or 20% that's supposed to go to people that are under the poverty or above the poverty line, right? And so that means that, you know, folks that couldn't afford to send their children to private school, they will receive a voucher. But it costs at a minimum $15,000 for your child to go to private school. You're getting a $7,000 voucher. And if you're already 30 cents away from having a quarter, how are you going to pay for the other $7,000, $8,000 or more dollars, right?
Unless your child plays sports.
Unless your child is great at sports, or unless your child is incredibly academically sound, then there's a good chance they may give them a scholarship. But most, and here's what happens, those vouchers that are not used by those people that are, you know, under that poverty line, then those vouchers can be used by anyone else. And so this was never about us. Never. And that's why I try to educate people, you know, the smoke, you know, smoke signals and screens and cover, and you know, they say it's this and we get all excited, but it's really this.
Yeah.
And that's the truth of the matter.
So how did she tap to get the voucher? Because the data did come out the other day that right now that population you said who already got kids are at 60-some% in this state right now snatching those vouchers.
Yeah.
Because we got to educate so that they can know how to get them.
So you can go to the Department of Education, State Department of Education, and click on vouchers or search vouchers, and they'll tell you how to access the vouchers.
Pastor Leon.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Representative, we're operating for you, and I stand with you. I'm over it too, all these excuses. But I do want to ask, I know the summer coming, we already just out of water with murders and stuff. How did we let all of those boys close? What is the problem?
I honestly can't speak to that. The Boys and Girls Club has a new president, and you know, she literally just getting her feet wet. I don't know if that was.
So that was ARPA money.
Okay.
They only had 3 years to use
Federal
it.
money.
Yeah, once that federal money was gone, no renewing it. So it was no
But I said
sustainability.
it has enough sense to do something about that.
I think that the ad, I don't know if the ads happened. I don't know if it happened with y'all or if it didn't.
Now, it didn't happen with us, but I say that you're right though. I think that when the city gave that money, it should have been a sustainability plan in place. Even if it was a 10 cents on the dollar, whatever, something should have went towards that. But again, it's just like I was told years ago, our children are liabilities, not assets, sadly. And so they not voting, they not saying that. So if something happens, you know, well, so we have to do what you're doing and many others, keep investing into our communities, and we got to do and put some dollars behind it.
But State Representative, give the State Representative a hand. Already State Rep, I was talking to one of our homeowners the other day, and we had it happen in Alcohol. Guys came down and they broke in the cars, and the neighbor walked out, and I told them, don't never do that no more, because you know, they had guns and stuff, we can see it on the camera. Do you see it passing that if I see my neighbor, and you know how they have guns pointing to the house, I think they're in danger, right? Do I have the right to shoot if I see my neighbor who got a gun pointed to our front door with somebody stealing their cars? If I walk out and shoot it, that ain't justifiable. I know you do.
No.
No.
You're gonna be put in prison for either ag assault for pointing that gun at somebody or attempted murder. Because if that person that's in that house is not showing, you can't see that person, or you don't see, if there's no way to prove that that person is actually in danger, you're gonna be charged. So right now, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Call the police.
Yeah.
Anybody else? We good? Okay, what you got there?
Ron.
Oh, yeah, Ron.
Quickly, I want to publicly thank you. We hardly ever see politicians that are willing to stand up. You and Charlie, I'm sorry, you officials, state representative and county commissioner. It's very rare in the African American community that politicians stand up. Men with backbone or women with backbone. And I just want to say that publicly.
Thank you.
Press conference and this meeting that's held weekly, we as a group always complaining that our politicians, we don't see them until it's time to vote. And I think this district is unlike any district in the state where you have a group of politicians that are not afraid to call a spade a spade.
But let me further qualify that, Ron, is not just, I'm not a politician, I'm a servant that will get elected, he's a politician. But I'm just kidding, but listen, let me be clear, it's not just us.
Yeah.
Right, we got a whole team of family around us, clergy, community leaders, educators, police departments, and, law enforcement rather, and, legal scholars, and it's a whole pyramid of folks that help us to be this way. And then the last thing too, I think it's important to notice that, those of us that, this has been a plan from day one to get our people in those seats so that we can communicate with each other and continue to have a pipeline from the community leader level to our education institutions, our churches, and as Weezy would call it, the 7 Ps, all the way up, to the state level, possibly congressional level. That's been our goal from before I was elected, and I was the first one to be elected out of the group. So thank you for that, though. Thank you for that public.
He got a money ass coming out there. Go ahead.
What this gentleman here was saying, I commend you that also. What I wanted to ask is, this, with the schools, is this something that's been playing all the time? Well, let me ask, where was our black leaders to speak up to not let this happen?
Well, I'll respond to that. So here's watch this. Thank you for that question, number one. There is an agenda that is given to Republicans nationally by an organization called ALEC. Look it up, y'all. This organization includes corporations such as Walmart, Core Civic, private prisons, and other corporate entities that come together, lay out the national agenda for the Republican Party, and what you're seeing is them executing their agenda, right? And so give me one second. They put together a strategy for the things that they want to see happen, right? Many of y'all think that the deportation of immigrants is about deporting immigrants. It's about contracts. It's about building up internment camps, which are now look like prisons now. There's money, there's an institution being built on the deportation of undocumented immigrants. Think about that, right? Ain't about undocumented immigrants. Their own people are screaming that we need them because harvest season is coming. Right? But this is about organizations and institutions receiving money.
Yeah.
Right? And so, there are those of us that have been saying this. We've been screaming about the Achievement School District from almost day one. Yeah. They had me at first, I ain't gonna lie. I was on board because I thought it was a great idea. I was newly elected, thought it was a great idea. And then when I realized, this is the new auction block for black and brown children. Then I was out. I'm out there, right? And now I'm on the other side of it. So there's been people that have been saying about, but then everybody don't understand the agenda. So.
Yeah. And I can say this as somebody who, before I got elected, walked that office, the hallways of the Capitol fighting for ACEs trauma, mitigating that trauma. I seen it. I sat in committees where they wouldn't let them say a word. It's 73 to 23 on the House side. What is it? 20-something to 4.
It's the same thing.
75%. Just 75%.
Yeah, 2/3, 66. 2/3 and 1/3 in both chambers, and there's Republican government.
So if they didn't even show up, they're going to do their agenda. And that's the power they got there. And now what they got coming out of federal. So I seen the fight. And that's why I say we have to go up there at once and surround them when we have the opportunity to get on the bus to go up there. Because I tell you, I seen the shock in their face just to see us in the hallway because they're walking up against committees that say shut them down so they call the question.
Call the question. That's their favorite line.
And so when he started talking
which means shut off debate and vote.
Vote. Because we got the vote. And so that's it. But local, as a community, as a village, we have to make that noise. But we seen even when the child got shot in Nashville, the white folk went up there, they surrounded the Capitol fight. But they still shut the vote, cut off debate, and They pushed it now, 18-year-olds can get going. Did that one pay?
Yeah, 18-year-olds can't.
So you had something in
I've been watching your YouTube. It's really interesting. I really commend what you were saying. But I'm like, if you see it, how come could nobody, the other speakers, I'm not putting no figure, how come they couldn't see it? If you saw it, because you talked on it, and I listened to it, and it made sense. Mm-hmm. But if you saw it, how come?
Here's what
I know you have your own opinion.
And I stop shy of other people's politics. I don't know what the circumstances is involved in and around other elected officials' politics. I've been trying to figure out Charlie Caswell's politics. Let alone them folks up there, right? But they have their own politics, and then keep in mind too, there is a group of people that sent them up there to do exactly what they're doing, whether it be quiet on this, be loud on this, and other. My people sent me up there to be uncut.
And Reverend Parkinson,
yes, sir.
Another quick thing that everyone needs to know is that they've had these strategies in place for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And we're just now seeing it.
Yeah.
But they have their national policies, they're playing 3D chess, and we have no idea what we're doing on our checkerboard right now.
Let me further qualify that, because I meant to go there when they asked the question first. That's the biggest challenge that we have, right? And I'm not just talking about black folks, I'm talking about Democrats, period, right? We're always in response mode, right? We're always on defense. We're always on our heels for what they're executing from a plan that they planned well over 10, 15 years ago. Nicole, remember the days we would go to Excel in Education, right? Excel in Education, I love going to Excel in Education. That's the Republicans' education conference, right? I love going to their conference, right? Because that's where I learned the blueprint. And I was accidentally invited to one back in 2013 by Brian Kelsey, Senator Brian Kelsey back then. The only reason I went because it was in San Francisco and I'm from Oakland, right? So I said it's a free trip home, right? But when I got in there and Rupert Murdoch was the keynote speaker, I'm like, oh, man, this is for real, right? And it's Jeb Bush's conference. And it's the umbrella for everything about privatization of education. Y'all, if you don't get anything else from what I said today, get this. State takeover is privatization. That's all it is. They're not, we get caught up in all of these personalities and this, that, and other, but state takeover is privatization. In that legislation, it said we can make the whole district a charter district, like New Orleans. In that legislation, it said we're going to put this advisory board over the school board so that that advisory board can control the budget, so that they can contract with their buddies. That's all it is. I'm not minimizing that, but don't think that it's anything else other than privatization of Shelby County School District. That's what they want. So that means we get the property, that means we get the budget. $1.6 billion budget. And the property portfolio. We don't care if y'all elected officials, your board members are still up there looking silly. We want the money.
All right. Thank you all. All right, thank you all again. Next week, we see you here next week. Man Up Foundation will be here with us. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week.